Hi friends, welcome to my movie reactions. I finally watched the movie Aadujeevitham or The Goatlife, directed by Blessy, starring Prithviraj, K.R. Gokul, Amal, Jimmy Jean Louise, and many others. The cinematography of this movie was done by K.S. Sunil and the music by the great A.R. Rahman. I loved this movie. So if you are the kind of person who wants a lot of comedy, action sequences, and preppy songs, then this is not the kind of movie for you. This is more of a spiritual or meditative sort of movie where you see a lot of realistic and very grounded uh, stuff happening in the movie. So this is a movie which is an adaptation of a best-selling Malayalam novel written by Benyamin, which again is inspired from a real life incident of a person named Najeeb who moves to Saudi Arabia for work but gets trapped uh, in a desert due to circumstances which you will see in the movie. Uh, amazing performances by Prithviraj and KR Gokul especially. And I hope Prithviraj and Gokul get all the awards for this movie, and especially, of course, the director Blessy as well for his hard work and determination to bring out this movie in the best form. As you all know, he has waited for almost 16 years to bring this movie for us. So this movie is a movie which uh, shows us that there is always hope, there is always a possibility to come out of a difficult situation. So this is a movie of hope. This is a movie which affirms our faith in whatever that we believe in, a higher force, a God, or a positive energy that surrounds us. So this is a movie which affirms us to believe in that. I watched the movie with my friends. So one of my friend had this feeling that the movie was lagging at some point and also, repetitive. But then that's exactly the intention of the director, to make us feel the lag and the repetitive, mode, as if we are in a loop, because it's the same thing that keeps happening again and again and again. The uh, character Najeeb is going through the same kind of torture every other day. The Arab guy comes and tortures him, gives him more and more trouble, and it's the same thing happening again and again and again. And feel like we are in that loop. But then that's the intention of the director, to make us feel what Najeeb is going through, because Najeeb feels trapped. Najeeb doesn't understand, that it's not able to communicate with uh, the Arab guy, because he doesn't understand the language. And we are also made to feel that. That is essentially, I think that was a very good strategy, because we feel the discomfort, we feel the lag, we feel trapped, as if the movie is not going any further, the movie is not moving forward. But that's exactly the intention of the director. And I personally didn't feel disconnected from the movie at any point in time. I was so much involved in the movie. I cried at lots of points in the movie, especially when I saw those blisters on Prithviraj's legs. It's so sad to feel like, we are so used to our luxurious life. We are so used to so much of comforts in our life, that the slightest of discomfort makes us so angry, so suffocated, that we suddenly seek for help. See, we suddenly seek for the remedy. But then here we see this person who has no other choice but to endure the pain, but to go through the pain. He doesn't have any other choice. He can't get medical help. He can't get uh, he doesn't have anything that can give him comfort, and he has to go through all that, not even knowing whether you know whether there is a tomorrow that will bring him a better life, that will take him out of the situation that he is in right now. And to see those blisters in legs was so sad. And also this there was this scene where those who have seen the movie already knows, it's a nude scene where Prithviraj takes off his the desert clothes, and then walks to the water tank, washes his face. And to see him at that point, it never felt vulgar. It felt so sad to see him at that stage, so weak, because we initially see the Najeeb who's very healthy and happy and all that, and then we see this transition into this weak slim guy who is nothing but just bones maybe. And he walks into the tap, he washes his face, and then he comes back and puts on his clothes that he has kept in his bag. So I felt like he might have had some hope deep inside him that he saved those clothes. He didn't wear them, but he kept them safe inside his bag, because one day he might, I don't know whether he had that hope, but then it felt like deep within he might have had that hope that he will escape, he'll come out of that situation. So he puts on those clothes, and again, the scene where the pants doesn't fit him anymore, because he has gone so slim that the pant doesn't fit him anymore. Then he had to tie it up somehow, and then he has to move. And the kind of torture that he has to go through while they do the escape from the desert, it was also sad. And to imagine that somebody actually lived through this and has come out of it is so affirming the fact that there is always that ray of hope. We should never give up. We should always have faith. We should always be determined that whenever there is a difficult situation thrown to us, there is always a way out as well. We might, at that point of time, we might feel so stuck. We might feel so much in the loop that there is no escape, there is no way out of it. But then that great force, whichever great force that we believe in, brings us a solution, and there is always a way out. There is always this ray of hope that we should be determined to come out of it. And here, that ray of hope comes in the form of Jimmy Jean Lewis and Gokul. Finally, when Gokul comes and tells Najeeb that there is this possibility to escape out of the situation, and then they decide to move forward. And another sad part was that Gokul's character Hakeem couldn't actually make it out of the desert. He dies on the way. So that was a bit sad for me. I didn't want Hakeem's character to have died at that point. I wanted him also to have escaped along with Najeeb. To have saved himself along with Najeeb, but that didn't happen. That was sad. Then, as I've told you, it's a kind of a spiritual or meditative journey when we go through this movie. The amazing visuals that we see. I mean, the cinematography is amazing. The desert is shown, the vastness of the desert. We feel like, oh, there is no end to this place. Like, this person is going to be there forever. There is no way he can get out of that place. That's how we feel when we see the desert, and all those, the sandstorms and the snakes and everything that comes in while they are trying to escape. And and also the harsh realities of a desert, like you see the vulture scene, you see how, so you don't when we always see deserts and everything in other movies, it's always about the beauty of the desert. We've seen song sequences and everything in deserts, it's so beautifully captured. But here we see the reality of the desert, where there are sandstorms, there's all these difficulties. When you're actually trapped in a desert, it's not so easy. uh, and there can be snakes, there can be sandstorms, and you can be trapped. You wouldn't know how to get out of the place if you're really trapped inside a desert. The scenes where they show the vultures and the camels dead and all, it makes us feel the harsh reality of the desert, where actually, this is what happens in the desert. When an animal dies, when the camel dies, it's dead inside the desert, decaying by itself. It might take months and years to be properly decayed, but then that is the reality of the desert. You see vultures, you know, feeding on the dead meat and whatever. So that brings us into the scary part of the desert, and to think that it happened at a time when it is even more scarier, because we live in a time and age when there is so much of advanced technology. There is always a way for us to communicate and seek help. But the story happens at a time and age when there was no such mode of communication. The world now that we live in is more of a smaller world. Everything is near, even though we might be far, you know in distance from our loved ones. We still can reach out to them through a video call. It's just we are just a video call away. We are able to communicate with them on a daily basis, know everything instantly, you know. But those were different times when the only mode of communication was through letters or international phone calls. We are not able to see each other. It's just the voice or it's just the written word. And to imagine that even that was denied for this person, he was stuck in this desert. His loved ones, his family doesn't know what happened to this guy. He's not able to reach out to his family to let them know that this is what happened. It feels drastic, it feels scary. And to think that another human being did this to this guy is even more scarier, because it's like, how can people do this to each other? It's how can you know, why would people do this to each other? Why can't they uh, live a life, you know, if you're not helping anybody, leave it, don't help, but at least don't harm somebody, right? You know, there are good people, there are bad people. We see both in this movie. We see this bad guy putting this Najeeb's putting Najeeb into this trap, torturing him and doing all these harm to him. And then we also see another guy who comes to take him out of this world, to take him out of this torture. Um, so life is always about, you know, life is always that, right? It's always a mix of good and bad. We meet good people, we meet bad people. For me personally as well, we all go through ups and downs in life, and every time there was a difficult situation, I always had somebody offering a helping hand in the form of friends or relatives. So this is always everything in this movie was relatable in a different sense, not necessarily because we too have gone through similar situations, but you know, we always can relate to such torture. The movie portrays a mix of physical and mental torture. Sometimes people go through different types of torture, and different people go through different types of torture in a different way, different types of um, you know, what you say, uh, like difficult situations. And then there are these people who come offering a helping hand, comfort. And I've had those. I was lucky enough to have those kind of people, not necessarily friends or relatives. It's sometimes even some strangers who have offered help. So this was very relatable in that way, in that sense. And also, this movie is uh, Prithviraj's career best, Blessy's career best. I mean, Blessy, of course, can do even more. I'm just excited to see, because he gave 16 years to this movie, and I wish uh, I want to see more of his movies now. Like, you know, I can't just wait to see more, the next what he comes up with next. And this is Prithviraj's career best. I mean, this man has given it all for this movie. To see him transition, and also Gokul did an amazing performance along with Prithviraj. Those were the two characters which touched me a lot in this movie. I hope they get all the awards this year for their performances in this movie, and I hope Blessy also gets an award for this movie as a director. Of course, music as usual by Rahman. Uh, it takes us into the zone. It takes you and puts you into the zone. And cinematography by KS Sunil, no words. It's amazing. Uh, so I just love this movie. Uh, this is a must watch in the big screen. You can't just wait to watch it in OTT, because this is a big screen experience. Of course, you will feel a bit of a lag. I guess you might feel a bit of a lag. You might feel repetitive, but then that is the intent of the movie. That is what the director wants you to experience when you watch the movie, because that is important. That is part of the experience. You can watch this movie in theaters near you. Thank you.